You are my daughter in whom I am well pleased. Chidera's future belongs to me, and I will make sure I destroy her.
Sometimes, God allows the worst thing to happen, not because He has forgotten you, but because He's preparing you for something so much bigger than what you lost. If He showed it to you right now, you would not even believe it. This is the story of a girl named Chidera. A girl who watched her dream burn and discovered that some destinies are fireproof, and how God rebuilt it into something so beautiful, even her enemies could not look away. My beautiful people, I hope you are relaxed. Get your popcorn and fruit juice, because what you're about to hear will hit deeper than you expect. Before the sun came up over Benin City, a girl was already awake. She did not wake up to an alarm. She woke up because she had things to do. Because in that house, if Chidera did not do it, nobody would. She moved through the dark compound quietly, carefully, the way someone moves when they are used to not being noticed. She lit the firewood. She put the water on. She swept the yard while the neighbors were still sleeping. And by the time the first light touched the rooftops of their street, Chidera was already in the kitchen, her hands covered in flour, the smell of something sweet rising slowly into the morning air. This was her life. Every day, the same. And still, she was grateful. Because while her hands were busy working, her mind was somewhere far away. Somewhere beautiful. Somewhere she was going to reach one day, even if nobody in that house believed it. Her name was Chidera Okafor, and this is her story. People in the neighborhood had a name for Chidera. They called her the quiet one who never stops moving. She was not the loudest girl on the street. She did not dress flashy or walk around seeking attention. But if you woke up early enough and stood by the gate of their compound, you would see her, baking before sunrise, packaging chin-chin into small nylon bags with neat, careful hands, wrapping meat pie still warm from the oven in foil, arranging cupcakes in rows like tiny crowns. Then she would carry her tray to the church gate, to the roadside market, to wherever people gathered and needed something sweet to hold in their hands. She sold everything herself, earned every naira herself. And every night, she came home and counted what she made, quietly, alone. Nobody in that house ever asked how she was doing. Nobody said, "Well done." Nobody even noticed. Because in the Okafor house, there was only one daughter who mattered. And her name was Onye. Onye was the kind of girl the world noticed immediately. She had Mama Ifeoma's sharp eyes and her father's good height, and she carried herself the way someone carries a trophy. Like she wanted you to see it, like she needed you to see it. She did not wake up before sunrise. She did not carry trays to market. She did not have flour on her hands. Onye spent her mornings choosing which wig to wear and her evenings watching other people's success on her phone and wondering why it had not happened to her yet. But Mama Ifeoma never saw any of this. Mama Ifeoma only saw what she wanted to see. And what she saw was a beautiful daughter who deserved better, who deserved more, who deserved everything. Even things that did not belong to her. Now, Mr. Okafor, Chidera's father was not a bad man. She knew that. She had always known that. He was the kind of man who smiled at you warmly and then looked away when things got hard. He loved Chidera. She could feel it sometimes in the way he watched her from across the room when he thought nobody was looking. A quiet, helpless love. A love that never grew legs and stood up for her. He had married Mama Ifeoma 5 years after Chidera's mother died. And from that day, something in the house shifted. Like furniture rearranged in the night. Everything looked almost the same, but nothing was in the right place anymore. Chidera learned to carry herself carefully in that new arrangement, to take up less space, to be grateful for what she had, to want more, but silently. And she did want more. Oh, she wanted so much more. It started 4 years before this story reaches its most painful moment. Chidera had been sitting in an internet cafe near the market when she saw it for the first time. A small advertisement, almost easy to miss. An international culinary scholarship, fully funded, 1 year of professional training in Dubai for young, talented women from across Africa. She read it 3 times, then she read it again. Her heart was beating so fast, she had to press her hand against her chest to steady herself. She looked around the cafe, almost afraid someone would see the hope on her face and try to take it from her. She wrote down everything. The requirements, the deadlines, the email address. She wrote it in the back of her late mother's old recipe journal, the one she kept hidden under her mattress. The one with her mother's handwriting still inside. Jollof rice, ofe onugbu, puff puff, small notes in the margins, tiny instructions meant only for Chidera. She pressed the journal to her chest that evening and made a quiet promise. "Mama," she whispered, "I am going to do this." For 4 years, she walked toward that scholarship in silence. She studied at night, after the compound was quiet and the generator had been turned off and everyone was asleep. She would sit by the window with her phone, reading about flavor profiles and pastry techniques and the science of bread. She watched YouTube videos with her earphones in. She practiced recipes in secret, baking small test batches and eating the mistakes herself so there was no evidence left behind. She attended every interview that was required. She told no one. She put on her best blouse, arranged her hair neatly, and took a bus to wherever the interviewer was waiting. She answered every question with the calm confidence of someone who had been preparing for years. Because she had. She saved money too. Slowly, carefully. From her chin-chin sales, from her meat pies, from her banana bread that one woman near the church had started ordering every Sunday without fail. She kept it all in an envelope inside the recipe journal. Her mother's handwriting around her savings, like a blessing. She had been rejected once, shortlisted and then rejected. She cried that night, a deep, private kind of crying that made no sound. Then she got up the next morning and kept going. Because Chidera had learned something that most people never learn. She had learned that pain does not mean stop. It means try again and try better. Then one evening, everything changed. She was sitting at the edge of her bed when her phone lit up. The email subject line read, "Congratulations, scholarship approval." Chidera did not scream. She did not jump up. She sat very, very still. And then her eyes filled with tears that fell so slowly, so quietly, like they had been waiting years to fall. She had done it. 4 years of secret study, 4 years of early mornings and candlelight and practice batches and rejection and trying again. 4 years of carrying a dream that nobody in that house even knew she had, and she had done it. She found her father sitting outside on the old wooden bench, the way he always sat in the evenings, watching the street go quiet. "Daddy," she said softly. He looked up. She showed him the email. He looked at the screen. Then he looked at her. And his eyes said everything his mouth had never been brave enough to say. They said, "I see you. I always saw you. I am so proud." "Your mother," he said quietly, his voice breaking just at the edges. "Your mother would have danced if she saw this." Chidera smiled, and for one brief, beautiful moment, everything felt right. She did not know that Mama Ifeoma was standing just inside the doorway, listening to every word. That night, the house was quiet, but the kind of quiet that is not peaceful, the kind of quiet where something terrible is being planned. Mama Ifeoma went to Onye's room. She sat down on the edge of the bed and spoke in a low voice, the way people speak when they do not want God to hear them. "Chidera has a scholarship," she said, "to Dubai. Documents are ready. Everything is ready." Onye sat up slowly. "So, what are you saying, Mama?" Mama Ifeoma looked back at her with steady eyes. "I am saying that some opportunities land in the wrong hands, and we are going to correct that." Onye was quiet. Then something moved in her eyes, something hungry, something that had been waiting for exactly this kind of permission. And if she finds out? Mama Ifeoma almost smiled. By the time she finds out, there will be nothing left to find. It is as simple as ABC. While Chidera slept the deep, peaceful sleep of a girl who had just received the best news of her life, Onye slipped into her room. She did not turn on the light. She lifted the mattress. She found the journal. She opened it with hands that were not shaking, and that steadiness was somehow the most chilling part of the whole thing. She removed the scholarship documents. Every page. The approval letter with Chidera's name printed beautifully at the top, the travel information, the acceptance paperwork that represented 4 years of invisible sacrifice. She took the savings envelope. She took the passport. And then she opened the small tin box. And she took the necklace. The thin gold chain with the small cross that had belonged to Chidera's mother. The one Chidera pressed to her face sometimes just to feel something she could not name. The one that smelled like another life. Onye put it in her bag. She brought everything to Mama Ifeoma. And Mama Ifeoma lit a match. Page by page, document by document, she fed every piece of paper to the flame and watched it crawl and blacken with the calm of someone who believed they were solving a problem. When it was done, she scattered the ash behind the kitchen wall, pressed the remains into the ground with her shoe. Then she went inside and made herself a cup of tea. Chidera woke up at her usual time, before the birds, before the sun. She reached under the mattress out of habit. Her hand found nothing. She sat up slowly. She looked. She checked again, carefully, methodically. The way you check when your mind is not yet ready to accept what your hand is telling you. Nothing. She opened the tin box. Empty. She stood in the middle of her room in the early morning silence and felt the world tilt underneath her feet in a way it had never tilted before. She walked outside. And then she smelled it. Something burnt. Faint. Still hanging in the cool morning air like a confession. She followed the smell to the wall behind the kitchen. She crouched down. She touched the dark marks on the ground, the fragments of something that had once been paper, the ghost of her name, her future, her 4 years. She stayed crouched there for a long time. Then she stood up. Her face was completely still. Mama, Mama. Her voice came out quiet, so quiet. The quiet of someone standing at the very bottom of something and looking up. Mama Ifoma appeared at the doorway with her cup of tea, looking completely rested, completely calm. "You are outside so early," she said. Chidera looked at her. "What's burning? And where are my scholarship documents? My passport? My mother's necklace?" She paused. "The ash behind the wall." Mama Ifeoma sipped her tea. "Chidera, come and remove them from my nose. Silly question." And she turned and walked back inside. Chidera went to her father. She stood in front of this man who loved her and told him everything, every word. 4 years, the scholarship, the ash, the empty tin box, the necklace. He listened. He looked at the ground. And then he said words that would stay inside Chidera's chest for years. "Let us not make this a public matter. Just calm down. Everything will be sorted out." She looked at him. This man, this soft, careful, well-meaning man who had looked at her the night before with such love and now could not raise his eyes from the floor. She did not shout at him. She did not cry in front of him. She simply nodded once, turned around, walked back to her room, closed the door, sat on the edge of the bare mattress, and spoke to the only person she knew was always listening. "God," she whispered, "I don't understand this. I really don't. But I believe you are not finished with me. I believe you are still my father, and I know you have a plan for me." She sat there for a long time. Then she got up, washed her face, and started planning what to do next.